Hello friends, I'm here today to share with you the books that I read in the month of August. Numbers wise, I had my best reading month. I was able to read 23 books for August. There are a lot of 4 stars though, so I don't know if maybe I'm still in a slump that way, like in my ratings, but as far as the numbers go, I'm very happy with this month, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. To start off the month, I read a historical romance series with 4 books in it. It is the Rule of Scoundrels series by Sarah MacLean. Book 1, A Rogue by Any Other Name, I gave 4 stars. This is about Penelope, who has had a couple of failed engagements, and so she doesn't really see what the benefit of marriage would be, but then she meets Bourne, who helps run this gaming hell. Each of the 4 main characters in the series are part ownership in that gaming hell. So they meet and he tries to convince her to marry him. It was some type of inheritance thing. I forget exactly how it worked, but I ended up giving, like I said, I gave this one 4 stars. Second book in that series is One Good Earl Deserves a Lover. This one is about Philippa. She is engaged in an arranged marriage that she's agreed to be in to help her family, but before she marries this man that she's engaged to, she wants to kind of live life, kind of see what all's going on. Well, she ends up I don't remember if she's the sister of the girl in book 1 or the friend or however, but she ends up meeting the man who runs gaming hell, and one of those, she kind of propositions him into being her coach through all things scandalous, I guess would be the word. I also gave that one 4 stars. I don't think I said. The third book in the series is No Good Duke Goes Unpunished. I gave this one 5 stars. It was my favorite in the series. This one is about, what's his name? This one is about Temple. He is one of the owners of the gaming hell. He has been cast out from society because it is believed that he killed his father's fiance the night before the wedding, and due to circumstances, he cannot remember what exactly happened. He knows that he woke up in her bed with blood all over. So at the beginning of this book, a woman comes to him because her brother is in a lot of debt with the gambling, and she offers, they find out, like they realize that she knows, he realizes that this is the woman that he's been accused of murdering, and that she's alive and perfectly well, in hiding, going by a different name. So they work together. He says he'll forgive her brother's debts if she comes out and says hey, I'm alive, he didn't murder me. I gave it some 5 stars. I loved it so much. And then finally, the last book in that series is Never Judge a Lady by Her Cover. This one is about Lady Georgina. She's kind of been a silent partner, but also I don't know how to describe Lady Georgina. She's got a lot of things happening in her life, and she's been this secret proprietor of the gaming hall, and so she meets a man who meets the man as herself, who wants to help her get out from under the thumb of the guy running all the gambling stuff. But it comes out that it's her. I don't know how to describe this book. I gave it 4 stars. It was pretty good. I think just after how much I enjoyed the third one, I think that this was a little downhill for me. Next, I read Code of Ethics by April White. I picked this one up at Book Bonanza. This one is about Dallas and Oliver. Dallas works for a private security firm, and Oliver, he's a tech genius, and he has created this AI software thing that is very highly coveted, and so he starts kind of getting threats, kind of getting people are breaking into his house, so he hires the private security firm. And then he and Dallas kind of have a bit of an antagonistic relationship. Like, they don't dislike each other, they just like to like mess with each other. And so due to family issues, she goes back to Canada. Her family is in the Yukon wilderness. And so she offers to take him, well, she doesn't really offer, but she's kind of forced to take him with her to go up there into the wilderness with her family, and they learn a bunch of the survival stuff. So I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. There is a lot of history that I didn't know about as far as the Indigenous people of Canada, because Dallas's grandfather, I think, was full-blooded Indigenous, and there's a lot of that history that he kind of talks about, like how the family ended up living in the middle of nowhere. It has a lot to do with that history. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. Another book I picked up at Book Bonanza, I read Frost by Liza James. This one is, I don't know, I bought it because I thought it was going to be kind of a Twisted Tales, like Frozen, and kind of, but not really. So I'm going to totally butcher the names in this one. Skilla and Naima? That's terrible. I'm so sorry. If you know how to pronounce them, please leave me a pronunciation guide down in the comments, because yeah. So this is one where it's a human who is taken into kind of the fairy world. I'm not even sure if it is fae. It had a lot to do with like Lucifer and Lilith and that kind of like darker, I don't even know how to describe it. But yeah, she's basically taken to this other demon world, and is going to kind of be trained to kind of like a vampire, provide blood for the queen of it, but the queen's sister is like the trainer. And so yeah, they don't ever make it to where she gets to meet the queen, because she falls in love with the training person. I don't know how to describe it. It's a sapphic romance. It was good. I gave it 4 stars. There's just a lot happening that I don't know how to explain. Next up, I read Change on the Fly by Maren Moore. This one is Holland and Reed. Reed ends up getting custody of his nephew, and he's a professional hockey player, so he is trying to come up with some way for this new child that he's responsible for to go on the road with him. And so Holland is his best friend's little sister, and she offers to go with them on the road and kind of become the nanny. Yeah, I gave it some 3 stars. I thought it was good. It had a lot of buzzwords that I felt like I should have really, really loved, but it just felt really like surface level. Like, he's got this new custody, she's gonna be the nanny. There was no like deeperness to it, and I kind of wanted that. So yeah, I gave it some 3 stars. Next up, I don't feel like inserting the picture, so we're gonna do it this way. I read One Touch by Lena Hendricks. I have since ordered the ring light. I have since ordered this whole series and her other series in these gorgeous mid covers. But yeah, this one is Kate and Beckett. Kate is living with her aunt, and her and her siblings have decided that it's time for the aunt's farmhouse to be renovated. Yeah. One of her brothers calls his friend Beckett, but Beckett also happens to be Kate's ex-boyfriend's brother. And since things did not end very well with his brother, she is a bit hesitant to trust him. But through the renovations on the farmhouse, they fall in love. And yeah, I gave that one 5 stars. I really loved it. I loved the whole home renovation aspect of it. I loved that she was a bit hesitant to trust him, but he always would like he kept doing stuff over and over again to show her that she could trust him. And yeah, I just really loved it. After that, I read The Brit by Jodi Ellen Moppus. This one is about Rose and Danny. So Danny is he's in like an organized crime type thing. I don't know if it was exactly mafia or what, but he has just become like the head of this like group, family, whatever. And so he is trying to like bribe a mayoral candidate. Maybe he was already the mayor and he was running for re-election. I forget exactly. But while he's trying to bribe him, he kidnaps the mayor's like mistress, and he is keeping her at his house and won't let her go home. She's got her own like reason for being with the mayor as well. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, but there was just a lot of moving parts, a lot of trying to figure out like who was scheming who and who was on what side. And yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I do think I will continue with this series. Next up for my series reading vlog, I read the Club Indulgence series by Maggie Cole. So book 1, The Auction, and book 2, The Vow. I ended up giving both of these 4 stars. I really enjoyed them. If you want my more in-depth thoughts, you can go see my reading vlog. Basically, Riggs finds out that his business partner is stealing money from him, and then he ends up seeing that business partner's daughter on stage at BDSM auction, and he kind of picks her partly because he wants her and partly because he thinks that it'll be a good way to get revenge. But yeah, like I said, I gave both these 4 stars. After that, I read Cruel Seduction by Katie Robert. This is in her Dark Olympus series. I am giving this one 3 stars. So this is another poly romance, and I hate to say this because it makes me sound like, I feel like it makes me sound bad, but I didn't understand this one. I'm gonna butcher these names, sorry. It's Aphrodite, Hephaestus, Pandora, and Adonis. So like Aphrodite, Hephaestus, and Adonis, I got that whole like trio thing, but then Pandora was thrown in, and it was only like just her and Aphrodite. And so they're like a whole like separate thing over here. And I don't know that I liked that. I think I 4 people is a bit confusing to me anyway. I kept having to like think about things. But I did not like that they were kind of just like a trio and then a 2 over here. It was just like this weird like offshoot of the triangle, if that makes sense. And yeah, I gave it 3 stars. Not my favorite in the series. I also wanted to catch up on some of the series that I had on my TBR shelves. So I read the 2 books that I already had for Catherine Cowell's Lost and Found series. Book 1, Whispers of You, and book 2, Echoes of You. And I'm giving both of these 4 stars. Book 1 is a second chance romance, and then book 2 is kind of a childhood best friends to estranged. She's trying to get out of a domestic violence situation and goes to her childhood best friend for help. But yeah, I gave both of these 4 stars. I read Wicked Angel by Lucy Smoke and AJ Macy. This one is a mafia arranged marriage. It ends in a cliffhanger. It does not have an HEA. Book 2 has just come out. I still need to read it. But I'm giving this one 4 stars. Even though it didn't have that HEA, I was gripped by what was going to happen next. And then when I started noticing that the percentages on my ebook was running low, I got real scared. And it was worthy because there was a cliffhanger. I only own 2 books, but I actually read 3 in Jill Ramsauer's 5 family series. So book 1 is Forever Lies. This is about a girl who meets this guy. She finds out he's in the mafia. He tells her that her whole family is in the mafia, and she was unaware. I gave this one 3 stars. I've discovered that I don't like it when the woman does not already know about the mafia. I prefer it when she does. Book 2 is Never Truth. This is about her sister who was never told that the family was in the mafia, but she like found out herself, and this is her like high school crush comes back because he like stopped being friends with her when he got initiated into the mafia because he didn't want her to know, but she already knew at that point, and so he comes back to kind of be the bodyguard for her. And then book 3 is Blood Always. This is another of the sisters who she's always been kind of, since their oldest brother died, she's always been kind of trained to take over the family. And then her parents agree that her parents enter her into an arranged marriage with this other mafia guy to like combine the families. So yeah, I enjoyed books 2 and 3 much more than I did book 1. I gave both of those 4 stars. Like I said, I prefer for the women to know what's going on. I finished the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. I read Final Offer. I gave this one 4 stars. This one is Callahan and Alana. This is a second chance romance. There's a lot of addiction speak in this one. And I kind of just felt like it was too long for their second chance romance. Like, they're remodeling this house. They're working through all of their old issues. It's just a lot happening. I wish it had been a little bit more condensed to the romance. I read Coach by Debney Perry. This is about a college football coach and his second chance with kind of the one who got away. They had this moment in college, and then he found out that he was going to be a dad, so he like stopped talking to her to try to make things with his child's mother work. But this is several years after his divorce, and he is moving back to coach the college that they went to while she works in the athletic department. I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Why is it a player on the cover though? I've had this cover for months, and I just noticed when I went to pick it up. Why is it a player on the cover if he's the coach? The last Mafia book that I read for the month was Killian by Natasha Knight. This one's kind of a Beauty and the Beast retelling. She agrees to be his captive to spare her brother's life. I gave this one 4 stars. I really like that one in a Mafia. I think the Beauty and the Beast aspect really works for a darker romance, like a darker Mafia romance. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars. And then finally, trying to continue series, I read 2 books in the True North series by Serena Bowen. I read book, I don't know what number it is. I read Fireworks. This one is Skylar and Benito. Skylar is a second chance. They kind of had a thing when they were in high school, but then due to miscommunication, she runs away to New York City to go live with an aunt to escape an abusive situation with her mom's boyfriend. Benito is the next door neighbor. They kind of have a thing through there. But like I said, through the miscommunication, she runs off. This is their second chance. I gave this one 3 stars. I did not enjoy this one. I felt like she was a pushover and she let everybody walk all over her. Her stepsister, him, everybody. I felt like everybody walked all over her, and I felt like he did it a lot, like steamrolling her, and I didn't like either one of them very much. And then I read Heartland. This one is Dylan and Chastity. Chastity is there's one of the books before that some of the people have escaped this cult and moved to Vermont. Chastity is one of those that has come with that group. And she and Dylan are really good friends, and they're off at college. She kind of asks for him to tutor her in sex and things like that. And yeah, I gave this one 4 stars. This one probably could have been like a lot higher rated, but the roommate in this one had me so intrigued. He had so much chemistry every time he was on the page with just anybody. Chastity or Dylan, there was so much chemistry. I really wanted to know about the roommate, and I think I was just more focused on finding out more about the roommate than I was on these two being together. So yeah, I give it 4 stars. So those are the books that I read in the month of August. Have you read any of these? Let me know what you thought about them down below. Like I said, it was my best reading month numbers wise. I'm hoping to bump up the 5-star reads a little bit more for September. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.